you have to translate your experience. You being a leader, you
Right.
cannot just dictate. You have to be part of your team, right?
Right.
You have to translate your experience for their betterment, and
Right.
how I can translate my life experience so that they can use this experience.
Bankers meet wealthy people on a day to day basis. But how do bankers become wealthy? By building great relationships. A world where banking has become more of product selling, one banker stepped up to build awesome team and client network first. Yogesh Kshirsagar, the investopreneur, is here to talk about building solid client relationships and what should the aspiring bankers do to achieve success. Welcome Yogesh on Convorhythm. Now, you've got a solid experience in banking as well. I mean, you've worked across the entire, across all the departments, operational departments, sales departments, and various other departments. You have set up branches, and you have also handled HNIs. So, what do you think is your core strength that has made you a great banker?
So I think trust and transparency is the way to build your face value. When it comes to the customer relationship, I think trust and transparency is the most important aspect. So I was banker. I've started this business, and why I've been able to acquire my banking clients here because of my face value, the kind of trust which I have built, with all my customers. That's why I am able to build that long-standing relationship. So
Right.
people will always look at, even I was part of HDFC Bank.
Right.
People have always looked at as Yogesh Kshirsagar. That's my face value.
Right.
That's why they're holding bank accounts with HDFC.
Right.
But they're investing with
Through
me.
you.
So I
Right.
think building that long-standing relationship can happen only by trust, giving that confidence. You have to understand what customer wants.
Right.
No, it is not that what you want to sell to the customer.
Right.
So understanding client's requirement
Right.
can really create that kind of long-standing relationship. So I have clients who are investing with me. They're with me for more than 20-25 years.
Wow.
So I
That's
think
good.
relationship management, networking is going to be the key. How you build your network.
Yeah.
Network can happen through only, as I said, you have to have that face value in the market.
Right.
If you have that face value, whether you are a banker or whether you are a entrepreneur,
Right.
if you don't have that face value, people will never come to you.
Right.
That's why even in financial planning, we don't market. We go in the market and do a marketing kind of activities.
Right.
Whatever business it comes only on the references,
Uh-huh.
and that's the way to go. I mean,
The thing I think it's also very there is a lot of dilemma, right? I mean, even those people who are bankers, they definitely at the end of the day they are selling a product and they have sales targets. It's also very very important for them to realize how important establishing trust
right,
and also giving that holistic thinking holistically about what the customer needs
right.
and then mapping the products only those relevant products and sharing a plan with them. So I think there has to be a balance between the two. How does one achieve this balance of selling the products but also not sounding like you're selling a product but building a relationship and that trust?
So process is very important. As I said, why process is important, because when you meet client, understanding his requirements is very important. You cannot go and sell the product as it is. I completely understand the banker side because I've been banker for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I'll not blame any banker, but following the process is very important. So when we started this financial planning business or wealth management business,
Right.
we had set up a process, because without process you'll never succeed into building long standing kind of relationship,
Right.
creating your face value. So process has to be followed. Understand client's requirement, understand his existing asset allocation, understand what kind of products he has.
Right.
Nobody looks at what kind of expenses he has, how
Right.
much money he would need for retirements.
Right.
Nobody talks about financial goals.
Right.
So process is important. You need to understand client's requirement and then giving the right product in line with his requirements.
Right.
That's the way to build a long-standing relationship. I think I'm not saying that every banker is not successful in that. I've been banker. I was able to acquire clients for my business because I always followed the process. And there are a
Right.
lot of bankers who have been successful,
Right.
even they are in banking today, but they are successful bankers.
Right.
So following the process, understanding clients' requirements, and whatever client you engage with,
Right.
always try and focus on building long-standing relationship. Right?
Right.
People will always try to sell the product, and that relationship is over.
Right.
So short-term relationship will never help.
Right.
If you have to create a sustainable kind of a business model in future as well,
For
as a
future, yeah.
banker, you always have to treat client that it's like my family.
Yeah.
Whenever I investing money, client's money, I have to strongly believe that it's my own money.
Right.
So risk management is important when it comes to financial planning, wealth
Right.
management, relationship management. If you manage risk, I think
Right.
everything will be followed. So
Okay.
that's the important
I think
aspect.
that's a very important aspect also for the aspiring bankers who probably want to graduate themselves into managing HNIs,
Correct.
right? In terms of for the aspiring bankers, one thing is absolutely clear that you got to establish a trust and you need to think as if the customer is your family
Right.
itself. What I wanted to specifically ask you, and you have mentioned it earlier also in a previous question. So you got to be very, focused on building those relationships. Now, those relationships, I know that there are relationship inside a bank as well as relationship outside.
Correct.
Maybe it can be with a third party or it could be with a client itself,
Clients.
right? So all these relationships,
Or with
how
peers also, I
all
would
the
say.
peers, yeah, absolutely. So how do you manage these, if I can say, they are some sort of stakeholders, right? I mean, if you were to give a mantra
Correct.
for what is the mantra for successful relationship management, what would that be?
So I strongly believe whether it's a relationship when you talk about peers, subordinates, clients, or even your family relationship, I think that feedback is very important. Transparent feedback, because people don't give feedback. So I strongly believe even if it's subordinates, peers, you have to understand their requirements as well. When it comes to client handling, you have to build that sustainable, long-standing relationship.
Right.
So I think transparently giving feedback, whether it's a clients, whether it's subordinate peers, because I've seen nowadays what happens is that when it comes to team handling, I know everybody has precious, but the kind of language has been used, while driving the entire team, that will always impact the mindset of your teammates.
Right.
So always treat that it's family. Always handle them, because you have to translate your experience. You being a leader, you
Right.
cannot just dictate. You have to be part of your team, right?
Right.
You have to translate your experience for their betterment. That
Right.
how I can translate my life experience so that they can use this experience. So now I have 4 or 5 management trainees, whom I am handholding um, to become a wealth manager or a financial planner. So
Right.
I am giving all sort of a success secrets which I have built over the period of last 20 years.
Right.
So when it comes to any relationship, right, when if it's a client relationship, you have to translate your experience, because you have seen all sort of markets, you've seen all sort of products. So translating that experience for their betterment, you have to add value. When it comes to subordinate peers or even customers,
Right.
if you add value, people will respect you as a leader, as a boss, as a financial planner, as a wealth manager. So adding that value can really help you to have a transparent relationship, and feedback is
Right.
very important.
Right.
So customer has to give a very transparent feedback. If I feel something is wrong, I have to give a. So because as a financial planner, we are like doctors or advocates. So we have to be very blunt. What we because people have to understand the importance of having financial planner or wealth manager. So my vision, whatever I am earning today, I want to create 10 people like this who can earn this kind of amount. That's
Right.
the way I'm handholding my subordinates
Right.
peer. So there are a lot of success stories already started happening. So
Wow,
there is a guy
that's very
called Sahil
interesting.
Kanade who's assisting me.
Wow.
Now he's on his own. There is a girl called Namrata Kulkarni. She was banker. Now she is with me. She
Right.
has started her own, and she's now started her own business. So this is how you need to build people. You need to build good quality of financial planners,
Right.
because there is a huge opportunity in India. As I said, 60% of people, they don't have a retirement plan. So imagine what kind of opportunities what we have in the market.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
only about approaching in the right way.
Right.
And why I was in Dubai, because I strongly believe now NRI also and should participate in the Indian growth story, because the kind of fundamentals, the kind of economy what we're seeing, I think the growth story lies here. The wealth creation will happen in India in next 10 years.
Right.
So this is how I believe, and
Yeah.
there's a huge opportunity for our business as such. Building a good team is
Yeah.
very important, and building a good sustainable network and clients, of course. I mean, without clients, you cannot grow your business.
Absolutely. And one very interesting thing that I noticed, and I always ask this to people at leadership or authority level, at a higher authority level, that there are two schools of thoughts. One is hiring the right talent. Second thing is hiring the talent and building them.
Correct.
Which school of thought do you follow?
So I strongly believe that people, as a leader, people has to follow you, right? Sometimes people, acquire the talent, but they don't handle it properly. So I believe is that whatever talent you acquire, obviously, without having a talent, he cannot be onboarded, right? So with some sort of qualities, he would have been onboarded.
Right.
It's all about understanding that what is his vision, what he wants to be in his life, and as a leader, you have to create a roadmap for his life success.
Right.
So I've seen a lot of people who've been recruited within the bank, within the wealth management space. They want to do something. They always, every candidate will have a talent, but you have to groom that client talent, right? So you have to create a roadmap. You have to handle them. You have to show them directions, and you
Right.
have to be with them always. So that's the way you can create a talent can become a success story.
Right.
It's all about how you create a success story out of a normal guy, and I've done this.
Right.
So if we look at a lot of people whom I've started, as a sales executive, now they're branch managers, they're
Right.
cluster heads, they're regional heads.
Wow.
So it completely depends on the leader. So I have seen some of the greatest leaders in my life.
Right.
One I will definitely talk about is Chintamani Kango.
Right.
So he's been my boss in Citibank. Whatever I have learned in those days, I still remember.
He's been your mentor.
He's
kind
been
of thing.
mentor. I think amazing guy. He's got fantastic, what do you call, client relationship management skills. The kind of knowledge he acquires, it's outstanding. The kind of oratory skills, soft skills. I think he's got everything. It's like a complete package. I will also talk about Shanta Velluri Gandhi. I think.
RBL. She
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she
I
was
remember.
head CSR RBL.
Right.
And she's been banker for 30 years, but the kind of oratory skills she has, communication skills she has, it's like a mesmerizing experience to
Experience.
even speak to her. So I got fantastic leaders. So that's the way I was able to build my life success story.
Right. So thank you so much, Yogesh, for
Thanks, Manish. Thanks. It was-
investing your time. I would, so rather than saying spending, I'm saying investing time in educating and building awareness amongst our
Thanks
audience.
for giving
Thank
this
you.
opportunity. It was wonderful. Thank you.